Hey, welcome to another video here on Lissa's Raw Food Romance. Today's video, I want to talk about fear, food fears, fear of trying, and how that influences your choices and some of my thoughts on it. So, how you can kind of work around the fear that you might have. So, let's dive into that topic in this video. Thank you again so much for joining me for another video here on my channel. I appreciate you being here. And please go check out our Black Friday sales that are going on right now. The plant-based bundle is the best deal because you are getting almost $900 worth of content from Nate and I for 50 bucks in the bundle, and you also get a bunch of stuff from other people too. So I have a list of all the things that we've contributed to this bundle. Again, $50 and you get all of this. You get the microgreens course, the cracker book, the smoothie book, Tales from the Tailgate, which is our Raw on the Road book. We've got soups, we've got hand salads, the wrap book is in there, the sushi book is in there, the taco book is in there, holiday menu 1, Make It Raw 4 that I wrote with Chef AJ, and you get access to the Alive Lunch video course that Nate and we made 21 videos showing how we make lunches, and the Align and Awaken Affirmation Meditation Challenge. So all this is valued at over $880, but you pay 50 bucks and you get all of that. If you didn't want to get that, you can always enjoy 60% off any or all of our raw vegan recipe ebooks with code RAWFOOD60 at checkout, and that link is payhip.com/rawfoodromance. So if you wanted the bundle or the Payhip website for our ebooks or any of the other things, the link to our school community, which is 30% off right now, monthly membership. Instead of $47, you're only paying $33 a month if you sign up. So all the links are down below, including other things that we have for Black Friday, like Excalibur dehydrator, some stuff from Amazon. We've got herbal face food, the skincare that I love, 30% off. We've got Osea has some amazing sales going on as well. So if you want to see all of the cool things, click in the description box below. So let's chat a little bit about fear. There's food fears, there's fear of not being able to do it right or properly, and this causes a lot of people to not even start. Or they start and it's not quite the way they thought it would be, or they hear something online about a food item that's not good for you, or what have you, and then they just stop. So fear can stop us from actually moving forward with the new habits that we're trying to build and to become the person that we really want to be. And there's all this noise going around, and it's easy to fall into the fear because fear sells and it gets a lot of clickbait. So we want to go at things with a curious mindset. That's probably one of the best tips that I have is if you hear something that kind of makes you feel a little uncomfortable, you're like, is this true? Investigate, get curious about it and go ask some questions and look at both sides and evaluate it from there with a more open mind instead of, finding something online, because a lot of stuff online, they'll share like a meme or whatever. And if I go to research it, I find that it's not true. So it's very interesting how easily we can fall into these things. One of the fears that I see a lot on social media is the fear of vegetables. And it's interesting because people will say, vegetables have all these anti-nutrients and everything. We shouldn't be eating them. It's causing all these problems and everything. But it's funny because most people, the average person, is not eating these foods in abundance at all. So it's not really those foods that are causing the problem. And we're scaring people away from something that they're not even eating anyways. So it just reinforces the fact that they don't need to eat those foods because they're like, well, I don't like this food or broccoli or whatever it is. And I saw this thing on Instagram that says this and this about broccoli, so I don't even have to eat it. But not that they ate it at all anyways, because it causes these problems or what have you. So vegetable fears, there's sugar fears, like the fear of fruit is out there too. Calorie restriction, which is another big one. We have people who talk about calorie restriction and people who see calorie restriction and they immediately link that with under eating or eating your BMR, which is not what true calorie restriction is for longevity. So most people will do it for longevity because there were studies done on calorie restriction, but the problem is using the term calorie restriction makes people think they need to undereat in order to get these benefits or eat less and live longer. But that's not the actual thing that they were talking about in the studies for longevity. Instead of saying calorie restriction, I think that they should have said calorie optimization. Because if you're under eating, you're not getting enough protein, you're not getting enough fiber, you're not getting enough nutrition, you're not getting enough hydration, you're not getting enough of all kinds of things if you under eat. So that causes its own problems. What they meant by calorie restriction was eating the appropriate amount of calories for your BMR plus all your activity, which is a lot for some people. A lot of activity, it could be anywhere from 500 to 1,000 extra calories on top of your BMR. So it's not about eating your BMR, it's about eating your BMR plus everything for your activity, including your workouts, your work, you're running your errands, you're helping, you're talking. Even just me talking here is burning more calories. So, you need to compensate for that. Because otherwise, if you don't, your body's going to eat itself to compensate for the calories that you're not eating. And that's not good when you are moving into any stage of life, but especially perimenopause and menopause, when we need to try to keep as much of our muscle mass as possible. And if we're under eating, our body is going to use some of our muscle mass to compensate for the food that we're not eating. So it's not about calorie restriction, it's about calorie optimization, eating just enough for your BMR plus all your activity. So when they said calorie restriction, they were talking about not overeating, because overeating comes with its other problems. So it's calorie restriction from the standard amount that people are usually eating and they're overeating. So they called it calorie restriction by keeping it at a certain optimal level. But I don't like the word restriction because people think undereat, right? Or restrict. But it's actually restricting it to the appropriate optimized amount, which is usually around 2,000, depending on your activity level. Nate and I usually eat around 2,400 calories a day, sometimes up to 2,700 calories. If we're really active, we feel a little bit more hungry, but that's optimization, right? We're not overeating, we're restricting it down to the appropriate amount that we need, which would be 2,400. So it's an interesting word that they used. And again, I don't like that they used that in those studies because now, everyone's like, oh, calorie restriction for longevity. So let's only eat 1,400 calories. That's not what it means. So there's this calorie fear. People are scared of eating more calories. And I had this fear too when I first started. I was like, really? Like, I was always taught to eat less, to lose weight. But when I started actually fueling my body, I noticed that I did lose weight and my muscles were better. And actually, Nate and I did our DEXA scan. And like I mentioned in previous video, I gained 2.6 pounds of muscle, which is really good. So we don't need to be scared of the calories. When we eat enough, our body can use that as fuel instead of using itself as fuel. I also lost visceral fat at the same time as gaining muscle, which is pretty rare, so I hear. So it's really important to eat enough, because if most people who lose weight will also lose muscle mass, that's kind of a standard given. But if you're able to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, that means that you are adequately nourished and you're doing really good, especially with your weight training. So yeah, we definitely have to make sure that we eat enough and to just release that fear of eating more calories and eating more fruit and eating more vegetables too. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there who are scared of eating vegetables. They're told all these things about them, but they're so beneficial to us. And I feel like a lot of people will share their experience, which is valid because everybody has an experience and everybody's gone through certain things. So they want to share their anecdotes, which is cool. But blanket statements to everybody doesn't work, because if one person has issues digesting broccoli, whereas the other person doesn't because they have a stronger microbiome, it doesn't mean broccoli is a bad food. It just means that the person who has issues with it needs to work more on their microbiome in order to be able to consume it. So there's that too. Something to think about. And finally, to close out the video, another fear that a lot of us have is the fear of not being perfect, not doing it perfectly, being gaslit by people online, being like, oh, you didn't do it long enough, you didn't do it good enough, there's something wrong with you, it's not a protocol or whatever. Sometimes we don't even do it because we're scared of getting judged if something goes wrong. So we don't even start. And this goes for even like making a recipe too. I've had a lot of people tell me that they bought the hand salads wrap book, which you can get in the bundle. Go grab the bundle. It's only $50 and you can get the wrap book, and the sushi book and all the other fun stuff in there. But they bought the hand salad wrap book like over a year ago, and they still haven't made a wrap because they're scared of messing up. And what does fear do? Fear keeps us from experiencing life. We don't enjoy the things that we could when we're scared of not being perfect enough. And I've had this again, lots of people have messaged me like they're scared to make the wraps. They're scared that's not going to turn out. But what's the worst case scenario? It doesn't turn out. Not a big deal, but like no one's going to judge you and you can try again. And I made the recipes really clear. And so many people who have been scared of making them just follow line by line, do the recipe, and they turn out perfect. And they're like, oh my gosh, I did it. And it's so nice to see that, especially people who were scared to do it. And so again, another suggestion is go in with curiosity, go in with excitement, go in being like, I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But it's going to work out. If we just get in there and try something, and we can always learn from our experiences. Mistakes are not bad. Mistakes help us to learn and to be better next time. We're all taught that mistakes are bad, so we fear making them. And when we fear making mistakes, we don't get to experience our life or find things that are amazing, right? So let that go, meditate with yourself, take some time and get excited about trying something, even if you are scared of doing it, because it could change your life. It could make things better. And you'll be proud of yourself that you actually stepped into something and tried it and just let go of the fear. So thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you enjoyed it, please click like. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the plant-based bundle going on right now. Link is in the description box below. You only pay $50 and you get almost $900 worth of content from Nate and I. We contributed 12 things to this bundle. If you didn't want to get the bundle, you can always get 60% off any of our ebooks with code RAWFOOD60. So head on down to the payhip.com/rawfoodromance website to get that discount. And also the school community is 30% off right now. You don't need a code or anything. Just go to the website, school.com, and search Raw Food Romance or click the link in the description box below. And it's already discounted $33 a month instead of $47 a month. You can also do a yearly if you want. That's $349 instead of $444 a year. So if you wanted to sign up for the year in advance, you can do that too. Join our live raw food classes in there. Watch all the replays from previous classes. We have daily posts, monthly challenges, and there's lots of connection and people communicating with each other in there too. So if you are looking for friends and you're looking for community, head on over there and check it out. So links all in the description box below. We'll be back tomorrow for another video. Until then, I love you and fruit on.